So I'm going to make more money than the bank even if the market goes down. And if I did have a good year and I made interest and I made 10% interest, that gets locked in. So if the next year the market crashes,
not paying taxes on it.
right. If you have your money in the S&P 500 index and the market crashes 30%, you have to make all that money back before you make any profits. If you put your money in a modified endowment contract and the market crashes 30%, the next year, if it makes 10% from that low point, you still make 10%.
That is fantastic.
You don't have to come back. The market doesn't have to go up for you to make money. It just has to have some up years.
It has to have some up years during the course.
If you invest in the market, it has to go up. From point A to the time you sell, it has to be higher or you're not going to make money. With this, it doesn't have to be higher. It can go down 50% the first year, you get 0, up 10% the second year, you get 10%. It's still down significantly off of where you bought it, but you still made money.
Pretty powerful.
Additionally, there is a tax-free death benefit and a long-term care benefit that's substantially more than you put in.
Talk about the long-term care benefit. That's a big feature for people right now.
Well, obviously, if you are going to be sick, then you might need to pay for someone to take care of you.
Of course.
And a lot of people are going to need long-term care. I think, what were the studies that we read? It was like
72% of women will definitely have to have long-term care.
Right, that's what the government's saying. 72% of women are going to need long-term care. So if you could go out and buy a long-term care policy, you're taking a risk. What if you never needed it? All those premiums are down the drain, right?
That's right. You never get them back.
But with this, you get a tax-free death benefit. And the insurance company realizes that at some point, you're going to die. Everyone's going to die, and they're going to owe you that money. So it's not a huge stretch for them to say, look, if you get really sick and then before you died, we're going to advance you the death benefit while you're alive a few years early. It's not a huge stretch for them to do that. So whether you need long-term care or not, you're getting that death benefit either as a death benefit or as a long-term care benefit.
And they're both tax-free.
Right. So if you put $100,000 in, there might be $200,000 of long-term care benefit from day one. So if you can't do 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, you have an extra pool of funds that's there for you. And then, if you didn't need it for 10 years, your $100,000 might have grown to $200,000. And your long-term care benefit might have grown to $350. So it's growing as you get older.
And you can continue to pass that on tax-free to your heirs or beneficiaries.
Yeah, I would say to you, if you don't know about how modified endowment contracts can be designed to benefit you, you really should call us, ask for a free report or ask for a meeting or a consultation or even a 5-minute phone conversation with one of us. Call us at 866-WEALTHY or go to our website at singerwealth.com. We'd really like to educate you. You're going to be very impressed by what you've learned. And remember, you don't know what you don't know. If you don't know that these strategies are existing, you can't benefit from them. And the first step to learning is calling for information, a free report, or a consultation. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hey, it's Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. You're listening to Prosper with Keith Singer. Don't turn that radio off. We've got good info for you.
Hi, we're back. It's Keith Singer, certified financial planner. I want to talk about the stock market. Is a crash overdue? What do you think, Darren? Is a crash overdue? You never know, right?
No, you have no idea.
Well, let's talk about historically, how often are there corrections? I would say probably every decade or so.
Yeah, every 10 to 15 years.
And most years, probably 2 out of 3 years, there's usually a time where the market goes down at least 10 or 15%. Even in the years that finish up, and we haven't had that for a long time, actually, right?
At least 8 years, I think.
And even this past year, the last 12, 18 months, I don't think there's been a 10% drawdown.
Well, we had one last January.
Right.
And I think that was around 8%, though.
January of 16.
16,
right.
Correct.
So it's been a year and a half or more since we've had anything like that. Now, listen, most investors can handle short-term market corrections, which historically happen fairly frequently. We all fear the kind of major crashes which takes years to recover from. Typically, a major crash has the best chance to occur when stocks have become either very overvalued or when markets anticipate a significant downturn in the economy. Let's talk about the last two major crashes. Darren, why did the market drop so much in 2008?
Keith, obviously the market doesn't lose half of its value for no reason. In 2008, the entire financial system was on the brink of a collapse.
That was scary.
It was horrifying. People not only were scared to own stocks, they were scared to own real estate, and even scared to keep money in the bank because banks were failing.
Clearly, when investors are scared of global systemic failure, that's not going to be a great time to be invested in stocks.
No.
The last major downturn prior to that, it wasn't quite as dramatic because it didn't happen so quickly as the 2008 crash, but it lasted a lot longer. Between 2000 and 2002, the market also fell about 50%. Remember what it was like back in the late 90s where everyone was making money?
Technology bubble?
There was a tech craze.
We had the dot-com craze. The market was going straight up for several straight years. The NASDAQ went crazy. Everyone was making lots of money. People were quitting their jobs just to be full-time stock traders.
I know. I mean, one of my clients was a surgeon, and he told me, he used to call me every day. His wife would call him and trade their accounts, and she'd say, hey, honey, I made $30,000 today. I made 40 today. I made 50 today. And he felt like he should just retire because his wife was making so much money trading. And when you start making money trading, you tend to believe that you have some sort of skill or ability to do that. I remember when I would meet with clients and we would try to plan and forecast for the long term.
Right.
And we'd say, all right, let's assume what's your returns going to be on your stocks? And we might say, why don't we assume a 10% return?
Right. I remember
and they would be like, great. What do you mean 10%? I'm making 20% a year, 30% a year. Why would we assume 10? Right now, like, they would think you're crazy if you told them, we're going to assume a 10% return. They'd say that's way too high. Now, obviously that didn't last. The market got very overvalued, trading at about 45 times earnings at its peak, when historically the market trades at 16 times earnings. So if you're concerned about avoiding a big market crash, you need to be vigilant against the market either becoming significantly overvalued or an imminent substantial macroeconomic downturn. So let's discuss the possibility of either of those scenarios.
Okay.
Darren, are we facing an imminent economic downturn?
Keith, I'm not aware of any economic indicators that are predicting that right now.
I agree with you. If an economic downturn is currently imminent, the market doesn't anticipate it yet, right? Because if it did, stocks would be going down.
That's
and they're
correct.
not going down. They're doing very well. So the market does not anticipate it as of this minute a substantial economic downturn. If the market was anticipating that, the market would be dropping right now.
Absolutely, it would be.
And by the time the average investor realizes the economy is in trouble, the stock market will have already gone down significantly.
Too late.
The market's a leading indicator. It typically goes down before the economy turns for the worse,
That
and
is
it goes back up
absolutely correct.
before the economy recovers. So let's discuss market valuation. Is it hard to determine if the market's overvalued, Darren?
Keith, actually, it's not as hard as you might guess. When you invest in stocks, you are investing in businesses. When you invest in a business, you are a buyer of a share of a company's future profits. So it's pretty simple to determine if you are paying a lot or a little relative to a company's earnings.
One of the tools that you would look to determine if something's overvalued is called the cyclically adjusted price earnings ratio. This looks at the average 10-year earnings of a company or an index or a sector and measures how much investors are paying for earnings. Historically, stocks have traded at 16.78 times earnings. This means that historically, we were willing to pay about 17 times earnings to earn a stock. If a company's making $1 million, we'd be willing to pay $17 million for it because it's liquid, it's marketable, you could sell it in a second.
Right.
So you pay higher multiples than you would if a small business that has no secondary market like that. The S&P 500 is currently trading at over 30 times cyclically adjusted price times earnings. That means currently investors are willing to pay 30 times earnings instead of the typical 17 times.
Double.
That means we're paying almost twice what we normally pay for stock. Based on this metric, a lot of people are arguing that stocks are very overvalued. In fact, there have only been 2 times in history when stocks traded at over 30 times cyclically adjusted earnings. The first was in 1929 during the great stock market crash and depression. And the second was at the height of the dot-com bubble in 2000 when we said they were trading at 44 times earnings or 45 times earnings. So both of those times turned out to be very rough for stocks. So the question is, do the high valuations mean that a market correction is imminent?
Not necessarily. There are some arguments to be made on both sides, Keith. First of all, let's talk about the CAPE ratio. It's an average of the last 10 years' earnings. However, this is misleading right now because the CAPE ratio's 10-year back period begins with the Great Recession in 2007. In 2008 and 2009, earnings were abnormally low. So the 10-year earnings are abnormally low due to the effect of the 2007 to 2009 on the 10-year average. As the recession years roll off the 10-year back period, the 10-year average earnings will increase, and stock prices can rise without making the Shiller-CAPE ratio rise excessively. The point is, if earnings continue to rise going forward as they have in the past year, they will now be replacing the recession years in the calculation of the 10-year average earnings that the Shiller-CAPE ratio uses. This dynamic will significantly increase the 10-year average earnings, the denominator of the CAPE ratio. This in itself will tend to bring the value of the Shiller-CAPE ratio down. Also, according to the CAPE ratio, stocks have been consistently overvalued since Reagan was president, except for the year 2009. So it tends to indicate that stocks are overvalued most of the time.
Yes, that is true. This ratio does always seem to indicate that stocks are overvalued pretty much ever since Reagan was president. So it hasn't been accurate necessarily in predicting a market correction per se. But there are a couple important factors that may also justify a higher CAPE ratio. First of all, there are extremely low interest rates right now. If interest rates were higher and you could make 8% in the bank like you could many years ago, during those times, people will automatically be willing to pay less for stocks when they can go to the bank and make 8%.
That's exactly right.
Why should I take risk in the stock market if I can make 8% in the bank?
Just leave it in the bank.
But if you can't make anything in the bank, people now are willing to pay more to try to make money in stocks.
And that's what they're doing.
Right. So it's difficult to earn any significant return on one's capital in money market or bond market. Investors will tolerate lower expected returns on stocks as an alternative because they're still better than bonds, which drives stock prices and the price-earnings ratio is higher. To put the 100-year Shiller-CAPE ratio chart in perspective, one should also look at the 100-year history of the 10-year U.S. Treasury bond, the bond yield. So when bond yields are low, then people are willing to pay more for stocks. Also, central banks throughout the world have been propping up stock markets by keeping low interest rates, and in some cases even putting funds in the market. However, that being said, the U.S. stock market has relatively high valuations as compared to other major countries in Europe. Also, whether there is an imminent crash or not, historically stocks have performed the worst following times of high valuations and the best following times of low valuations. So high valuations doesn't actually bode well for stocks in the short term. According to my research, when the price-earnings ratio exceeded 22%, the markets earned less than 5% per year for the following 3 years, with the average market drop of 21% during that time period. The key takeaway from this discussion is that inevitably there will be a market drop that's big. The question isn't when, because it's going to happen. It's whether you put strategies in place to minimize the impact of the next market downturn. Diversification, low volatility investments, and alternative investments that won't go down if the market crashes. Market crashes aren't like hurricanes where you know they're coming a week in advance. Market crashes are like earthquakes. They hit without warning and they can devastate. The question is, are you prepared for the next great earthquake? We are having a lunch and learn at our office on Wednesday, October 25th. We'll discuss the steps you can take today to protect yourself against the next market crash. Call us at 866-WEALTHY to reserve your spot. Enjoy some lunch and, more importantly, learn very valuable information that can protect your portfolio. Reserve your spot right away as spaces are limited. Learn how to protect yourself when the next market correction comes. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. We're looking forward to seeing you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY, to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hi, this is Larry King, and you're listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
Hi, this is Keith Singer, certified financial planner, owner of Singer Wealth Management. We have offices and meeting places in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, in Boca Raton, and West Palm Beach. We're looking forward to seeing you soon. Call us if you need us at 866-WEALTHY or go to our website at singerwealth.com. Let's talk income, Darren.
Sounds good.
Historically, the way people generated income was they would have their portfolio.
Right.
And they would just take out 5% a year, right?
Okay.
They got their stocks, they got their bonds. Maybe as they got older, they repositioned things, a little more bonds, a little more cash.
Right.
And, they're just taking their 5% a year.
This was a lot easier when government bonds were yielding 8%, Keith.
Yeah.
If 50% of your portfolio was yielding 7 to 8% in government bonds, managing a portfolio for income was a breeze.
Very true. And on top of that, as people started living longer and interest rates started to fall, logic started to dictate that people needed to decrease their annual withdrawal amount to 3.5% to 4% to ensure a high degree of likelihood that you wouldn't even run out of money.
Right.
So obviously we don't have 8% interest rate anymore. We can't put half our money in the bank and make 8% or government bonds and make 8%.
That's unfortunate.
And so now a lot of people are having to reduce the amount of money they take out. And your success is predicated on what's called sequence of returns. And it's very, very critical to the success of your portfolio.
Sequence risk, Keith, also called sequence of returns risk, is the risk of receiving lower or negative returns early in a period when withdrawals are made from an individual's underlying investments. The order or the sequence of investment returns is a primary concern for retirees who are living off the income and capital of their investments. It's not just long-term average returns that impact your financial wealth, but the timing of those returns. When retirees begin withdrawing money from their investments, the returns during the first few years can have a major impact on their wealth. Two retirees with identical wealth can have entirely different financial outcomes, depending on when they start retirement, even if the long-term market averages are the same. For example, a retiree starting out at the bottom of a bear market will see the prices of the holdings in his or her portfolio rise when the market recovers. More crucially, though, that retiree will also see a reduction in the overall return of that portfolio because of how much had to be withdrawn in early retirement when prices were down. By contrast, someone who retires when stock prices are high, letting him or her take early withdrawals or fewer equities because they are worth more, will likely have a higher overall portfolio return than the bear market retiree earns. That is because the high stock prices retiree has more equities left in that portfolio to earn returns later in retirement. If there is a major market drawdown in the early years of retirement, it substantially increases the likelihood of running out of money.
That's the problem. You could have all this planning, you'd have beautiful charts, historical returns, this strategy, that strategy.
Right.
But if your portfolio gets clobbered and loses 20 or 30% in the early years and you're pulling money out to live, your retirement's not going to work.
It's devastating.
So the other thing is, people used to plan to retire at age 65 when average life expectancy was 77. On the average, you needed to plan for a 12-year retirement. Now people are living well into their 90s. And now we have to figure out how to create predictable, reliable income streams that will last the rest of our much longer, hopefully, lives.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. A lot of people are living much, much longer than we ever thought. The whole system with Social Security, you pay in, right? And then the government expects to pay you retirement for 12 years. Now they push it back and they're paying you for 20 years, 25 years. It's taxing the Social Security system. So one of the things that we are doing to create additional predictability is we're adding index annuities to some of our client portfolios. Index annuities, the right ones, the ones that are designed correctly, the ones that have the most attractive terms, appreciate when the stock market rises, but they don't lose when the stock market falls or even crashes. There are many different kinds of index annuities, and their expected returns can vary. We tend to look for index annuities that allow for a significant uncapped portion of stock index gains. Think of it like this. If you can get half of what the stock market gets when it goes up, but not lose any of it when it goes down, you can make a decent return without any risk. Unlike a stock investment, when the market crashes, you don't lose. From time to time, there are some pretty attractive index annuities that are available. About 8.5 years ago, my assistant's mother was looking to put $100,000 into a safe growth vehicle without stock market risk. Upon my recommendation, she invested $100,000 into an uncapped indexed annuity, and the account today has grown from $100,000 to $256,000.
Wow.
Without any stock market risk, right? So it made money when the stock market went up, but it didn't lose. Had she invested in the S&P 500, she would have more, right? Because she would have got all the returns.
Right.
But had there been a crash, she might have had more with the index annuity. So an index annuity may earn less than the stock market over long periods of time, but actually might earn more. It depends if there's a big crash or not.
Exactly. It depends on the crash or not.
If the market goes straight up for the next 10 years, you would have been better in stocks.
Absolutely.
If the market has a couple bad years, you would have been better off in index annuities. So we don't know what's going to happen, but most people having all their money in stocks isn't really a viable option anyway.
Absolutely not.
So this provided really good growth without downside risk. Almost any other safe alternative that was available at that time would have yielded far less. Yet had the market crashed, her account wouldn't have grown nearly as much as it had, but it wouldn't have ever lost either. So if you can earn a reasonable return of 5 to 6%, but you don't have to worry about market losses, you can sleep well at night. And if the stock market crashes, it won't affect you, and you will basically eliminate the sequence of returns risk. That could have a very big value.
Even if your index annuity doesn't perform as expected, they will all guarantee a 5% withdrawal for at least 20 years. Conversely, if you're able to own an index annuity that can make 5 to 6% on your account value, you could withdraw 5 to 6% without reducing your principal. In any case, using strategies with limited or no downside helps create much more predictability.
Right, and what you said, just to clarify, Darren, what Darren was referring to is since index annuities can never lose, if you put $100,000 in and you take $5,000 out every year, even if the market's down every year and you make no interest, your $5,000 is guaranteed to last for at least 20 years.
That's right. Thank you, Keith.
Okay. Whereas if you had your money in the stock market, it's not guaranteed to last for any amount of time because
That's right.
you could lose money.
At any time.
So if you're the kind of person that really values certainty and contractual guarantees, you should learn about income riders, because income riders can provide predictable guaranteed lifetime income that you can never run out of. Darren, why don't you explain a little bit about what income riders are?
An annuity income rider, Keith, is an attached benefit to a deferred annuity policy that solves for longevity risk by providing a lifetime income stream. Income riders typically have a guaranteed growth rate that can be used for income and can be flexible from a planning standpoint. Most of the time, the income riders on a fixed index annuity will offer a higher contractually guaranteed lifetime payout than the income riders on a variable annuity.
Variable annuities typically have market risk. Your account values can go up or down just like any other investment account. So if there is a big market downturn, there's a greater risk that you could deplete your account value prior to death. This is risky for the insurance company because they still must pay you lifetime income. Whereas fixed or index annuities have no market risk, so there's less of a likelihood that your account value become depleted due to poor market performance. So if you think about it, variable annuities give you much more upside. You could make a lot more money. You could increase your guaranteed income, but there's also the chance that you could deplete your account because the market crashes. Now the insurance company owes you all this income, and they have to pay it. It's not coming out of your account value.
Right.
So with index annuities, since the market can't lose, the insurance company has less risk, and they're willing to give you a higher guaranteed income stream typically than you can get on a variable annuity. So if you're living a long time, if you think you have longevity, it might be in your best interest if your guaranteed income has a chance to increase. So the question is, why would you choose a variable annuity? Because variable annuities offer higher upside potential and a greater possibility that your income could go up. index annuities typically give more upfront guaranteed income from day one. There are a variety of ways to generate income. For those of you that have a large surplus of assets that are able to generate necessary income from a relatively small percentage of their assets, an income rider is less critical. However, even if you aren't worried about running out of income, if you have longevity in your family, an income rider essentially passes the risk of living too long to an insurance company, and that rider could actually have quite a bit of value to you and your family. To summarize, if you have lots of surplus capital, just spend what you need without fear of running out of money. Conversely, if you don't have unlimited funds, conservatively spend 3 to 4% of your investment portfolio so you don't run out of money. Or if you want to spend a little higher percentage, let's say 5% per year, then you need to eliminate sequence of return risk by using safer vehicles like the best performing index annuities. Or if you need to be able to spend 5 to 6% of your assets to make ends meet, or you have longevity in your family, then consider using an income rider that allows you to take a very high income stream without ever running out of income, even if your portfolio becomes depleted. If you've been listening to our broadcast and you're thinking these guys have some really interesting ideas, then you've been paying attention, which is great. But the only way you and your family are ever going to benefit from our unique strategies and our ideas is to speak with one of us and perhaps get our recommendations specifically tailored to your unique situation. Call us today at 866-WEALTHY. Don't procrastinate. Procrastination never works out in your favor. Can you think of any reason why we shouldn't at least speak? Probably not. Call us today at 866-WEALTHY. We're here to help. We're looking forward to speaking with you. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hey, it's Sean Hannity here. Do not touch that radio dial. You are listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
Hi, this is Keith Singer. We are back. Darren, let's talk about retirement.
Let's.
According to the Insured Retirement Institute, for each of the last 2 years, investors looking to avoid stock market risk have put over $200 billion into index annuities.
It's a lot.
While these products are designed to protect investors' principal, the different offerings may vary significantly from product to product in terms of growth potential. Unfortunately, many insurance agents do not accurately depict how the products work. I have a list of areas that I feel advisors need to do a better job of explaining to better serve the listeners and their consumers and their clients. Let's talk about fees.
Sounds good. I often hear insurance agents claim that unlike the expensive variable annuities and mutual funds, index annuities have no fees. This is a misleading statement. Insurance companies make money selling index annuities and variable annuities. With variable annuities, the fees are disclosed and transparent. With index annuities, the fees are priced into the crediting method. For instance, if you have an annuity that has a 5% cap and the index goes up 10%, you only make 5%. If the insurance company did not have expenses and a profit margin they were attempting to obtain, that cap would be much higher.
So if, for instance, what Darren's saying is if an index annuity, company A has a 5% cap, that's the most you can make against the S&P 500, and company B has a 10% cap, is it fair to say that they both have the same fees?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, one is priced cheaper. One's priced to pay you more interest than the other.
That's correct.
But the fees are built into how much interest they let you make. So you just don't know exactly how much the insurance company is making. Now, ultimately, what you care about is what's in it for you. What do you get out of it?
That's right, yeah.
I mean, you don't really want to base your decision on how much money a company is making. You want to base your decision on what's the benefit to you. Now, also, a lot of agents, insurance agents, typically the ones who aren't licensed to sell investments, who aren't registered with FINRA, say something like variable annuities are horrendous, never ever buy one. But you have to be wary of general statements like that. There have been times in the past that variable annuity offerings were much more attractive than they are today in terms of benefits and costs. But I'm seeing the pendulum swing.
Yeah, I agree, Keith.
I'm seeing some variable annuities recently that have come out that have very high guaranteed income levels, and they heard the message, we want to pay less fees. That's where the industry is going right now. You're seeing a lot of products are coming out with super low fees on the variable annuities. So if you didn't like variable annuities because of the fees, you might want to rethink that, because there's some companies that have come out with much lower fees attached to their variable annuities. So stay away from general rules like never buy this or always buy that or never own a variable annuity or only buy index annuities. It really depends on the terms of the contract, right?
That's right.
Every contract is unique. You have to evaluate the contract not by the name of the product, by the terms of the contract, right?
That's it.
How much
correct.
benefit are you getting? What's the cost to you? Is it a good deal or not a good deal? And we analyze that for our clients, and we try to find only the very best deals for our clients. Now, obviously, one of the things you'll hear people say is index annuities allow you to participate in the market when it goes up, but not when it goes down. That sounds phenomenal, doesn't it?
That sounds fantastic, of course.
Now, for index annuities and index modified endowment contracts, this is true, but they're not all created equal. If you want the highest rates of interest credited to your accounts, you need to understand which crediting methods are going to work the best, okay? Right now, there's a movement towards the uncapped index, okay?
Right.
And what index they're using is typically not an all-stock index like the S&P 500, because insurance companies can't give you the full upside uncapped of the S&P 500 with no downside risk. There's not a way to do it.
No, absolutely not.
But there are indexes that have come out that are designed to be very, very stable, very low volatility. And indexes that have low volatilities, insurance companies are able to hedge that and actually pay you, in some cases, more than 100% of the returns of a low volatility index.
Which is pretty good.
Now, a low volatility index probably won't make as much as, let's say, the S&P 500. But if you're getting a low cap against the S&P 500 versus an uncapped low volatility index, that might give you a lot more interest.
And you don't have, especially in the low volatility index, you don't have to worry about the ups and downs and the swings of the market.
Well, yeah, in an index annuity, your principal is guaranteed regardless of how volatile the index is. But there are some very interesting strategies out there right now. For instance, one of the indexes called the Mosaic Index.
Oh, yeah.
Very diversified. It's been averaging about 6% a year. And you can actually get, I think, 120% of the returns of that index right now without any downside risk.
Which is phenomenal.
Another thing we're hearing is people say guaranteed returns of 5, 6, 7%.
Yeah, right.
I cringe when I hear people promise prospective clients 5, 6, or 7% on an index annuity. Because if there were products that were offering a guaranteed return on your money of 5 to 7%, don't you think I'd be talking about it?
Absolutely, we'd be talking about it.
Why wouldn't I be talking about it? Insurance companies call me all the time begging me to talk about their products. They know I have a wide audience.
Right.
They know I have a lot of clients. They come to me all the time. I know everything out there that exists, I know about. And if there was something that was guaranteed 6 or 7%, I would know about it and I'd be talking about it.
And you'd be offering it.
So the thing is, income riders are a calculation that's used to determine how much income you can take each year from your account value without running out of money. Okay?
It's a little confusing,
It is
though, the
confusing.
calculation.
Because if someone says you're guaranteed 6% growth, what does that mean to you?
I'm assuming I'm going to get 6% on my money.
Right, but that's not what it is. Income riders, the amount of income that you can take out increases by 6%, but your account value doesn't necessarily increase by 6%. In fact, it won't. In fact, the insurance companies that offer the highest guaranteed income typically have very weak crediting methods. You don't make a lot on the interest that on your account value.
That's right.
So if someone's allowing you to believe you're making 6% guaranteed, even though they know you're not, they may have disclosed it to you. They might have said, oh, this is for income. But knowing that you don't really grasp it, but they allow you to believe that you're making a guaranteed 6%, is that someone you want to work with?
No, it's deceptive. It's misleading.
Do you want to work with
Absolutely
someone
not.
who's getting your business by deception?
No.
Okay, so don't work with someone who's deceiving you. It's not going to end well, all right? By the way, I'm not a big proponent of using income riders on index annuities. Insurance companies charge you roughly an extra 1% interest, and many people don't wind up using them, and those that do are only spending their own money. Very few of them are projected to live long enough to use up all their own money so that they can actually receive a benefit from the insurance company. Another thing I want to talk about is bonuses. A lot of agents tout bonuses. And most people that I come in contact with, they understand that there's no free lunch. Insurance company's not giving away free money, right?
That's right.
And they always know if there's a bonus, there's a catch. Either there's an extra charge for it, or the interest isn't going to be as good. Insurance companies would love to get you to get your money and pay you next to no interest if they could.
Oh, absolutely.
They want to pay you as little as possible. But if they say to you, hey, here's a product, it's paying no interest, you're not going to put your money with them, right?
No, of course not.
But if they say, here's a product that has a big bonus, you might not pay as much attention to what the interest is.
It's very tempting.
That's what they're hoping. So the insurance company gets to induce you to put your money with them, and a lot of times give you a worse deal than if you had no bonus. And think about it. If you're gonna rent an apartment and one landlord's offering a first month's free rent,
Right.
and the other apartment's not offering that, does the apartment with the first month's free rent automatically beat the other apartment?
Absolutely not, but it sounds like it does.
Well, you're like, wow, that's a good start. All things being equal, if you can get the first month's free rent, that's good. But it's never all things equal.
Exactly.
Typically, the apartment that has the first month's free rent, they need to do that because it's a bad location. They can't get people to rent the apartment otherwise.
Right.
The apartments that are in demand, that are valued, that are the best deals, they don't need to give away a free month's rent. So it's same way with these kinds of products. It's a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. Obviously, if you get a bonus and you die, you get to keep it generally, right?
Right.
So that's one exception. But if you're going to keep it for a 10-year term, you want to know how much money you're going to make over the 10 years. And we prefer products that can make 5, 6, 7% a year on the average. Not guaranteed. We said there isn't a
Right.
guaranteed return.
That is correct.
But we have clients, like, just like I mentioned, the client who put $100,000 in and now it grew to 265 8 years later, that, is making about 10%.
There is
I
the
think,
potential.
right? So
Absolutely.
there's a potential for the best index annuities to deliver really nice interest. Another thing that people get confused about is something called a monthly sum method. Very tricky.
Yes,
And
very tricky.
Let's say there's a monthly sum where you have a 2% monthly cap. That means the most you can make each month is 2%. I've heard agents say, hey, you can make up to 2% a month. That means in a really good year, you can make 24%. You're like, wow, who wouldn't be happy with 24%?
Of course, it sounds fantastic.
The problem is, in the negative months, they subtract an uncapped month. So if you lose 10% one month, it's going to take you 5 months just to get back to zero for the year.
Right.
Typically, if you have a 2% monthly cap or less, you're going to earn zero interest about 2 out of 3 years. Zero interest.
That doesn't sound very good.
Because typically there's going to be a big down month that ruins the year. So that's not a method that I would recommend, a 2% monthly cap. Now, if you had a 4 or 5% monthly cap, it probably would work out pretty good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But obviously there's going to be that outlier. Once every 10 years you made 12% on a really good year, the market went up. But there's going to be so many years that are zero, it's going to average out to about 2% a year. So, the index annuities are tricky. If you want to discuss how they might benefit you, or if you're looking at one, or someone pitched you with one and you want our opinion on if it's good or not, we'll be happy to tell you. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. If you have a variable annuity, this is something we help a lot of people with.
Absolutely.
A lot of people come to our office with their variable annuities. Maybe they don't talk to their agent anymore.
Right.
They're not sure how to manage it. As a courtesy to all of our listeners, we will help you allocate your variable annuity, and we will educate you on the benefits of it at no cost to you.
And just do a complimentary analysis for you.
We'll show you, hey, this is the best sub-accounts in this variable annuity. We know them all. We're familiar with them. Here's your income rider. Here's how to maximize the value of your income rider. You probably want to turn it on at this age rather than that age, or in this state, because that's going to maximize the value to you and your family. So if you have a variable annuity and you're not happy with the service you're getting on it, we'd be happy to help you as a courtesy to you. The following is my philosophy. I want to get back to income riders on index annuities. Because index annuities mitigate your downside risk, they're not going to go down if the stock market crashes at all. At no additional cost, we mentioned this earlier, you can withdraw 5% a year without running out of money for the next 20 years. And there's probably going to be some interest. There's probably going to be some up years. So with index annuities, I'm generally not adding income riders. And if you do add an income rider, you better have a plan to turn it on in time so that you actually have a chance to get value for it.
Right,
because if you
exactly.
never turn it on, you wasted a bunch of money. And if you turn it on too late before you had a long enough time to get income, to get all your money out, then you didn't get any value for that income rider either. So I typically recommend to our clients the index annuities with the highest growth potential, not the contracts with the highest paying income riders. If a product includes an income rider at no additional cost, that's fine, but I'm typically not advising my clients to pay extra for one. Now, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of indexes. We talked about this briefly. It can be complicated. What you might want to avoid is a 5% risk-controlled index. Those indexes tend to get your money into cash and bonds when the stock market goes down.
Right.
And they tend to put you back in after it's gone up. So the returns on those are actually very, very low if you look historically. It's very hard to make money on a 5% risk-controlled index. There's so many different moving parts on index annuities and variable annuities. You really need someone who has expertise in that area if you want to make the smartest choices. We happen to feel we have a lot of expertise in that area. If you'd like us to review your situation, how you might want to reduce the risk in your portfolio, how you might want to prepare for the next market correction, how you want to maximize the value of the riders you already own, call us at 866-WEALTHY or go to our website at singerwealth.com. We would be delighted to speak with you. Happy to talk to you, meet with you at no cost to you. Again, it all starts with a phone call. Otherwise, we can't help you. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. We're looking forward to helping you make very smart choices about your money. Again, call us at 866-WEALTHY. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.
Keith Singer would like to invite you and a guest to a lunch presentation to discuss the next big market correction and how to plan for it. This will be held on Wednesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. at his offices in Boca Raton. Come enjoy lunch and learn from certified financial planner Keith Singer about the potential for a major market correction and strategies that you can implement to protect yourself during the next major market correction. Space is limited, so call today, 866-WEALTHY to reserve your spot. That's 866-WEALTHY.
This is Mario Gabelli. You've been listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
You have been listening to Prosper with Keith Singer. For the solution to your financial problems, call toll-free 1-866-WEALTHY. That's 1-866-WEALTHY. And tune in again at this same time for Prosper with Keith Singer.
Keith Singer is registered with and securities offered through Investacor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Singer Wealth Advisors, Singer Wealth Management, and Singer Wealth Advisors are not affiliated with Investacor. The opinions and recommendations contained in this broadcast are those of Keith Singer and Singer Wealth Management and not of Investacor. Past performance is not a guarantee of future performance. Upon liquidation, your investment may be worth more or less than its original cost. The investments discussed may be suitable for only some investors.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. On this Wednesday, clouds and some sun, breezy, warm, but humid with a shower and thunderstorm in the area, the high 80 to 84. And partly to mostly cloudy skies Wednesday night with a shower or two, mainly early near the coast. Low 64 and a few inland spots, but 75 along the coast. Clouds and some sunshine for Thursday and breezy with a passing shower or two, the high 82 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
What do I do now? After 911, don't worry, call Fakuri. Fakuri Medical and Chiropractic, treating auto injuries for over 32 years. Same-day appointments, immediate medical attention, all under one roof. Don't worry, call Fakuri. Go to bestinjurycare.com. All auto insurances are accepted. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take your call. Car accident? Don't worry, call Fakuri. bestinjurycare.com.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. So, you used to be wired, now you're just tired. You used to be thin, but now you're the heaviest you've ever been. You don't necessarily always have to take a med if your thyroid is playing dead. If you have a thyroid disorder, an acupuncture visit may be in order. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566.
Langley Health Services, located at 7205 Southeast Merricamp Road in Ocala, is a federally qualified health center offering family practice, pediatrics, podiatry, dental, behavioral health, and radiology services. Most insurance accepted, sliding scale for those who qualify, and same-day appointments available until 4 p.m. with board-certified family practice and internal medicine physicians on staff. Langley Health Services, call today, 352-680-7000. Veterans are the foundation upon which our freedom is built. Listen to The Source, WOCA, each Thursday at 9 a.m. to Veterans News with Hank Whittier from Vets Helping Vets. You'll hear tributes, information on veterans issues, and stories that will make you laugh, cry, and feel proud. Veterans News always focuses on the military, past and present, and on our first responders. Veterans News is brought to you each week by Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery, keeping you blooming since 1952. Robin, how do you like my design?
You're designing a box?
That's not a box. It's a doghouse.
Rough draft for your rough? Sounds like you need personal service.
I do?
Yes, to print the blueprints. See Mark at the Personal Service Center. He can print blueprints, notarize permit applications, print and mail out invoices, and even provide great-looking business cards.
Personal Service Center. That's the one on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, right?
Just look for the yellow signs. Your Pedigree Palace will be a reality in no time.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. Mixed signals on healthcare. Senator Lamar Alexander says President Trump engineered a bipartisan deal on insurance company subsidies for lower-income Americans and called this morning with words of encouragement.
He called me twice over the last 10 days to talk to me about a bipartisan agreement for the short term.
The president tweeted this morning, I'm supportive of Lamar as a person and of the process, but I can never support bailing out insurance companies who've made a fortune with Obamacare. An execution is scheduled tonight in Texas.
They call Anthony Shore the tourniquet killer because of the method he used to kill his 4 female victims in the Houston area, later confessing, blaming voices in his head. All of his victims were sexually assaulted.
Fox's Jack Callahan. Police in Edgewood, Maryland say there are multiple injuries in a shooting at a business park. Fox News. We report, you decide.
What if hiring could be easier? Less time-consuming, with more qualified candidates and faster results? What if hiring could be smarter? Thanks to ZipRecruiter, it can be. With one click, post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, so you don't spend time wondering where the right candidates are searching. Then ZipRecruiter uses its smart matching technology to scan millions of active resumes and notify the most qualified candidates to apply for your job. And the ZipRecruiter dashboard makes it easy to review, rate, and contact candidates, all in one place. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter makes it simple for growing businesses of all sizes to hire the right people, no matter the industry. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you the results you need. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. The Sunbelt Ag Expo, the premier agricultural farm show in the Southeast, continues through Thursday. The gates will close at 4:30 on Thursday. So if you're making plans to come to the Sunbelt in Moultrie, Georgia, you need to get down there Wednesday or Thursday. Coming up Wednesday at 1 o'clock, the Goodyear Titan FFA Foundation is having a tire sale. If you look on the internet, you can find out exactly what they're selling, and a lot of tires will be sold, and all the donations will go to the FFA. At 1 o'clock, the Q-Fest is going on, the Terrell Week Q-Fest. We'll bring in about 25 young farmer chapters, and they'll be competing, believe it or not, for the best barbecue. And then they'll serve it that night, starting at 5:30 for the big barbecue event for the young farmers from all across the Southeast. The Farmer of the Year was announced yesterday, and it's Robert and Cynthia Mills Jr. of Virginia. He mainly grows tobacco, conventional or organic fluke-cured tobacco. He also has dark fired and bioenergy with winter wheat. He also has a lot of beef cattle and pullet breeders, but a great job from him and all the 10 farmers that have been named to the Farmer of the Year.
Don't miss the 40th Annual Sunbelt Ag Expo Farm Show in Moultrie, Georgia, October 17th through 19th. Field demos will showcase the latest harvest and tillage equipment for cotton, peanuts, and hay. Choose from over 300 seminars and demos on cattle, equine, sheep, goats, and dairy. Visit the Hoss Tools demonstration garden area, hunting and fishing buildings, family living sections, and be sure to see the university exhibits. Come for a day or all three. It's just $10 per person. Visit sunbeltexpo.com for more information.
Attention farmers, you could be eligible for technical and financial assistance under a program offered by the Natural Resources Conservation Service. The Conservation Stewardship Program is now accepting applications. To learn more, visit your local USDA Service Center.
I'm Tyron Spearman. See you at Sunbelt on the Southeast AgNet.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. If this had been an actual emergency, such as a hurricane or tornado, official messages would have followed the alert tones. WOCA serves the Marion County area. This concludes the test of the emergency alert system.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck, back pain, or tennis elbow and would like to learn how to get out of pain, go to Regenetic.com. Then listen in on the first